In 2012, Carly Zakin and Danielle Weisberg founded The Skim from their couch. Now, 6 years later, their morning newsletter gives over 7 million subscribers the news and information they need to start their day. And when they first started the company, they got a lot of advice from other female entrepreneurs. And now they're sharing those conversations and more on their podcast, Skimmed from the Couch, SKIMM' from the couch. Every week, you'll hear from women like Ariana Huffington, founder of the Huffington Post and Thrive, on why she puts her phone to bed at night, or Melanie Whalen, CEO of SoulCycle, on why she has a millennial mentor, or how actor Taraji P. Henson got over her first rejection and learned how to negotiate for herself. It's a podcast about the real stuff, tips and tricks to launch, grow, or change your career. The only rule on the couch, no BS. And check out Skimmed from the Couch wherever you listen to your podcasts.
9.
T-minus 8 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition and liftoff.
Welcome back to the Space News Podcast, all of you space cadets out there. My name is Will, and I'm beaming this directly to you from the mothership. Now, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been tuning in, and also everybody who's subscribed to this podcast. Thank you so much. We're growing. We're moving up the ranks because of you. All of your star ratings on iTunes really help. Everybody on Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, everywhere, basically. Everyone who's subscribed, anyone who's contributed in any way, thank you so much. Also, if you'd like some more information about this podcast, you can go to spacenewspodcast.com and you can join us on Discord. We have a Discord now, so check that out at spacenewspodcast.com. There's been a lot of talk recently about JPL's NASA's InSight lander because it's doing a lot of cool stuff on Mars right now. Now, this lander on the red planet, it's deployed its first instrument onto the surface of Mars, which means it's completed a major mission milestone recently. NASA has beamed back images from the lander, and it shows the seismometer on the ground. It's copper-colored covering, faintly illuminated in the Martian dusk. It looks calm and clear for InSight. It's headed to the new year, and there's new scientific discoveries to be had. Tom Hoffman at NASA's JPL in Pasadena, California, said that InSight's timetable of activities on Mars has gone better than we hoped. And getting the seismometer safely on the ground is an awesome Christmas present. The InSight team has been working carefully toward deploying 2 dedicated scientific instruments on Mars soil since landing on the red planet on November 26th. And the Rotation and Interior Structure Experiment, the RISE, which does not have its own separate instrument, has already begun using InSight's radio connection with Earth to collect preliminary data on the planet's core. But not enough time has really gone by yet for scientists to deduce what they want to know. And scientists estimate they might have some results starting in about a year from now. So about Christmas time next year, we might get a little bit of a Mars present from these guys. In order to deploy the seismometer and the heat probe, engineers first had to verify the robotic arm that picks up and places InSight's instruments onto the Martian surface and that they were all working properly. Engineers tested the commands for the lander, making sure a model in the test bed at JPL deployed the instruments exactly as intended. And scientists also had to analyze images of the Martian terrain around the lander to figure out the best places to deploy these instruments. And on Tuesday, December 18th, InSight engineers sent up the commands to the spacecraft. On Wednesday, December 19th, the seismometer was gently placed onto the ground directly in front of the lander, about as far away as an arm can reach, which is about 5.5 feet. The seismometer deployment is as important as landing on Mars. The seismometer is the highest priority instrument on InSight. They need it in order to complete about 3/4 of their objectives up there. And what it does, it allows scientists to peer into the Martian interior by studying ground motion, also known as Marsquakes. We have earthquakes here, and they have Marsquakes on Mars. So each Marsquake acts as a kind of flashbulb that illuminates the structure of the planet's interior. And by analyzing how seismic waves pass through the layers of the planet, scientists can deduce the depth and composition of those layers. It's kind of like having a phone held up to your ear. You can hear what's going on, and they're thrilled that they're in the best position to listen to all the seismic waves from below Mars' surface and from its deep interior. Now, in the coming days, the InSight team will work on leveling the seismometer, which is sitting on the ground and is tilted about 2 to 3 degrees. And the first seismometer science data should begin to come back to Earth after the seismometer is in the right position. Now, it's going to come back here, but scientists and engineers at JPL and the French National Space Agency and other institutions affiliated with the SEIS team, they'll need several additional weeks to make sure the data has been returned and as clear as possible. And for one thing, they will check and possibly adjust the seismometer's long wireline tether to minimize noise that could travel along to the seismometer. Then in early January, engineers expect to command the robotic arm to place the wind and thermal shield over the seismometer to stabilize the environment around the sensors. Now, if all of this goes well, if there's a robotic arm that helps out the seismometer and makes sure that it's covered and functioning properly, and if all goes well and there's no unexpected issues, the InSight team plans to deploy a heat probe onto the Martian surface in late January. HP-3, it'll be on the east side of the lander's workspace and roughly the same distance away from the lander as the seismometer. So about, a couple feet away from it. But until that time, they are just going to be focusing on getting the first bits of seismic data, however noisy it can be, back from the Martian surface. And they look forward to popping some champagne when they start to get data back from InSight's seismometer. And the team actually has a bottle of champagne ready for this occasion. It's a tradition around there to pop a bottle of champagne when something goes so right. So what do you think about Mars, the InSight lander, all the data and all the science is coming back to us? Make sure to go to spacenewspodcast.com. Check out our social links there. You can find us on Facebook at Space News Pod, on Twitter at Space News Pod, and you can go to our website to check out our Discord, which I'm really pushing for the Discord, people. I think it's really cool, Space Cadets, that we can communicate in real time. We already have some people in there. It's getting going. So join up there. We can talk together. We can shoot ideas at each other. It's going to be a pretty cool thing. So until next time, Space Cadets, have a good day, and I will see you soon.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition and liftoff.